Have Honorable Frimpong Yawado. He's the Member of Parliament for Mansour Dubia. And thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.
And I have Bright Demoji, and he's a Member of Parliament for Botiano, English and Manfro. Thanks for joining me.
He happens to be my MPO.
Happens
to be my MP.
He happens to be. You live in his community?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
And he's my committee member too.
He's your committee member. You're in agriculture.
A very
agricultural committee.
A very vibrant member of the committee.
Okay.
Look at this one.
And today we're here to discuss Farmers' Day, but more importantly, the impact that the farming community is making or has made on agriculture. Very lately, we've been getting criticism, especially being leveled at government, of not contributing significantly to improve agriculture in the country. The last 3 years have not been too good, but the last year has been better than the last 3 years, and the last 2 years been also better than the last 3 years. So that's how it is. So it's a skill that is climbing up gradually, but it's also because there's been significant investment over the last 12 months into the agricultural sector. But it depends on which side of the criticism or the political divide you are and how you're going to agree with me on that very subject. And that's why we have these personalities in the studio, very much interested in agriculture and the way farmers tend to also apply their trade in our country. And thanks for joining me. Can I call you Yao? Is that okay? Okay.
Yes,
and then I can call you Bright as well.
Yes.
But let me start with you.
Right.
When I start with him, will give me all the good things. So let me start with you. What have been the numbers? Yeah, the numbers in terms of the last 3 years, the performance per GDP.
Thank you so much. Let's say good morning to your cherished viewers. Agric, in the past, in your intro, you were right on spot that in the past 2 years, although it cannot be described as very good, but at least it has been climbing from where it was, growing negatively, to positive climbing. I must say that it's not too significant, because the numbers that we have here don't attest to the fact that it is a significant growth that all of us should be proud of. Because if you were growing at the level, the desirable levels, Ghana should be importing less and then exporting more. But it is the reverse which is happening right now. But before I continue, should I take this opportunity to salute the gallant farmers of this country, including myself. We've tried so hard to put food on the tables of Ghanaians, and I can tell you that we have enjoyed some calmness on the economic front in the past 1 month, or let's say 6 weeks, as a result of that cocoa syndication, the $1.7 billion that came in to stabilize the system. Otherwise, we wouldn't know where this country would have been. So it is to the credit of the farmer that we are enjoying some stability, some relative stability in terms of economic development and our currency stabilization. It is as a result of the cocoa farmer, through his sweat, that we were able to get this 1.7 billion to stabilize it. So I salute Ghanaian farmers. Today, as we celebrate the day in Sefiwi also, I say Ayiko, and we pray that they will grow from strength to strength, so that agriculture will grow in this country. But coming to the topic, you see, if you look at agriculture, and you look at the quantum of money that is given to all the sectors in the budgets. I'm looking at
the allocation.
The allocation, okay, because it's more important. Anywhere I've been to, the people are crying for inputs at affordable prices. So I look at the allocation, and if you look at the 44 billion, see this as the national kitty, 44 billion, and agriculture, including fisheries, are giving only 484.3 million Ghana cedis, which is just 1.1% of the 44 billion. then I think we are not doing too well for agriculture. Why am I saying this? Agriculture has just overtaken the service sector in terms of contribution.
That's for the current financial
Yes.
year, or that's about ending?
About ending. For contribution to the GDP, which is very significant because the service sector had overtaken everybody
For a number of years.
For a number of years. So for Agric to overtake the service sector in this current year, I was expecting that a chunk of the money should have been given to Agric so that we continue to grow. Because if the people are well fed, I'm telling you, we forget about a lot of our problems. And then you give us this amount. I think that it is not too good. This is the smallest percentage ever allocated since 2009. You see, it compares with 435 million to the 2 ministries in 2014 budget. You see, if we say we are an agricultural country and we are doing so well to the extent of overtaking the service sector, then last year was 435.5 million Ghana cedis of the budget, and last year was about 30 billion, and this year we go to 44 billion, and we are giving just 484.3. It is just 1.1% of that continent, and I think it is not too good. Let's look at food imports. You see, if we are doing so well, then we should not be importing so much. And let me give you this. The president came to Parliament 25th February 2014 to admit that we have been importing 1.5 billion cedis worth of basic food crops. That's not too good. As an agricultural country, importing so much to this country. So if we are doing well, then it presupposes that we should be exporting more rather than importing. My colleague here is constituency. There's an irrigation scheme there. We are supposed to grow vegetables for export. Ask him, how has that sector been faring? Recently, we went to the north to visit some rice projects, and seriously, the project is doing well, but at the end of the day, what we call the value chain, it starts from production to the market, but somehow it gets broken. The chain gets broken in between
because of
funding, credit. The cost of credit is so high, and then after they've grown the rice, the harvesting, they still use the sickle. And I was like,
and that's old.
That's
obsolete.
This is
so they need harvesters.
That's right. They need combined harvesters, and then we get them good markets. And you see the shelling. I even participated in the shelling with sticks. In this modern time and age,
you won't get good grains.
You won't get good grains, and there will be so
much. Very fine.
The losses will be so much, and again, the farmer will not get the benefit of.
We'll talk about what the investment should be, and then also what the real concerns are of the various farmers.
That's right.
And how what efforts are being made currently. How would you say, by your own observation, the current state of agriculture in the last 3 years? We know that we've seen some significant improvement. For example, the Minister of Finance said that, well, the importation 1.5 billion has been reduced in excess of some 600 million. And so that's very significant in many ways.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, and good morning to the people of Botiano, English, Yamanfro. Good morning to the farmers of Ghana. Good morning to everybody. Yeah. Yes, for me, I'm happy in the sense that from 2011, where we can say that Ghana has found oil in a commercial quantity. If you watch across the world, developing countries that find oil, and you look at their performance of the agriculture sector, ours is reverse. Reverse in the sense that since 2011, where the growth rate of our agriculture sector was around 0.8%, we moved it up to in 2012 to 2.3%. In 2008, it was 5.2. And 2014, 5.3. So if you look at the growth for the agric sector alone, that has been the progressive growth from 0.8% to 2.3 to 5.2 and to 5.3. So that is it is not just on the silver platter that we are gaining some level of growth in the area of agriculture. It is because of the serious interventions. And my colleagues here knows, because it's a part of the Committee of Agriculture, and we've been touring projects, serious projects that are going on in this country in the area of agriculture. I'm talking about, he knows it, the Northern Rural Program, which is going on, and we are now coming to expand it to cover the whole of this country. From the beginning, it was just to cover the savanna zones and the certain portions of the Volta region. The aim and the objective is to boost up rice productions and irrigation. And if you watch this year budget alone, and you watch the contribution or the growth in irrigation infrastructure alone, the target against the achievement, I think over 150% above the target set in terms of irrigation infrastructure. I think about 9,000 to about 12,000. The target was to be able to develop about 9,300 irrigation infrastructure in the hectares, but we will be able to do that 12,000. That's tremendous achievement in the area of irrigation. And you know that our problem in this country. Just
supposing that based on where we're coming from.
Yes, I'm saying that.
Because to many it will still be insignificant.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
I will let him know.
I'm saying that there is a significant improvement in the area of irrigation infrastructure through the Northern Rural Program. Small dams, small irrigation infrastructure projects are going on across the length and breadth of this country, he knows. And even apart from that, you can see that if you watch sector by sector, and you watch not even in terms of GDP growth, but even though the contribution of the agriculture sector in terms of overall GDP is reducing, in terms of figures, if you compare these things, it is very, 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 very high. So all that I'm trying to say is that, yes, for me, it is a good news that despite the oil find, we didn't say that we have found oil in commercial quantity, so we are leaving agriculture. But that has been the bane of some countries. But we are rather putting in maximum effort. If you watch it, normally if I'm discussing agriculture, I started from all the processes that are involved, because as a trained agronomist, I know we're talking about land preparation, and then we talk about the planting material, then we talk about crop management and harvesting and post-harvesting. So if you take this year budget right now, and you start from even just the land preparation, the budget is saying that in this country, where we have about 89 agricultural mechanization centers, we want to increase it to 41 for just 1 year. We want to set up 41 Agric mechanization centers. That's going to solve the problem he's talking about. So when we talk about agricultural mechanization centers, we're talking about equipment, machines, to ensure that harvesting of our rice is done very well. Post-harvest management is properly organized. And he knows that in the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, which about $5 million is being pumped in to take care of those things, he's aware of that one. So as for Yao, he knows it very well. Address 5 million.
Address cocoa farmers, not Yao.
He knows.
Or address Ghana farmers, not Yao.
You see, no, it's because you raise those issues. That's why I'm referring to you. Because you know very well that $5 million has been allocated for Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project to take care of irrigation facilities, to take care of mechanization and agriculture input across the length of the country. And we have been privileged to be briefed, and the processes that involved in acquisition. Nucleus farmers, there's a lot of money sit down there to help farmers who want to go into commercial agriculture so that they can assist outgrower schemes. And he's aware that about 45 farmers have been considered And they have passed through all the processes. They are all looking for a matching grant for the money to be released for them. And that is the way to go. That is the way to go. For instance, if we know that we know the best rice farmer from the northern region, and we know that the man has been able to do very well in the area of rice farming, and the Ghana Agriculture Project says that, okay, we are giving you this money so that you can develop your area and help other farmers to develop, other farmers to develop along your chain. That is the way to go in this country. And there's money sitting down to assist those farmers. Project is being implemented to ensure that we move along those. I'm telling you, just this year alone, in the Volta region, the production of rice has gone up for almost 100%. I'm telling you, almost 100%. In the Ashanti region, somewhat 30%. So if anybody sees and says that, no, those days, we are, even though we are young, we know that we don't used to eat rice like we are doing now.
Our consumption patterns
have changed. So definitely, there's some level of pressure on rice. So the importation ordinarily would increase. But all I'm trying to say is that we can move from land preparation. We are saying that we're going to put up about 41 Agric mechanization center, which is going to take care of.
You are going to put up?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm talking about NDC and Mahama administration.
That's okay. Now, in order to...
No, I should land.
No, you have landed.
No.
Right, you have landed. Now, in order to put a better perspective, on the issues we're talking about, let's take it perhaps, as far as agriculture is concerned, we have fisheries, we have various subsectors under agriculture. Now, we have traditional crops that have always given us revenue. And, well, Tima now, we feel we don't have to resort to. Cocoa has always been a good crop for us that has always generated.
That's right.
The criticism that I've heard many agriculturists say, not even the politicians say, is that the policy interventions towards, let's say, whether it's fertilizer provisions and also even mass cocoa spraying exercises, and even giving incentives to the farmers in many ways that would ensure that we have significant growth in the agricultural sector, especially when it comes to cocoa growing, has been barely non-committal and very much reduced. As a result, that we've seen the yields not up to the expectations that we've always needed, just hovering around the 800,000 tons, those significant levels.
That's right. Yeah, thank you so much. Before I get there, let's look at the growth that we'll be talking about in the 3 years. You see, in 2008, Agric...
Because I talked about the current fiscal year.
Yes.
Then I talked about the last financial year.
That's right.
And then the previous
that's right.
year.
But you see, we should look at where we are coming from. You see, in 2008, Agric grew at 7.4%. 2009, we came to 7.2. You see, that was a drop. And then from there, we came to 5.3 in 2010. You see, so that baseline that he is talking about, we had dropped from 7.4 to that level. So for us to leap back is not going to be easy. And trying to climb back, you see, the 2011, it was 0.8%. We dropped so much, 2011. Then 2012, we came to 2.3. In the past 2 years, we are around the 5.2, 5.3. So it is nothing to jump about.
But that's significant, looking at what we've come from the last 3-4 years.
You know, yes, but you see, we are nowhere near. Mind you, population has grown from the 2008 to this level. So we should be doing 10% and singing hallelujah instead of the current 5 point. That's the point I want to raise.
About cocoa, because now we want to segment our
That's right. So let's go to cocoa. It is interesting that I happen to be a cocoa farmer. So I know a lot about the cocoa industry. You see, cocoa, you know, I went into cocoa because of the euphoria around the cocoa industry in the 2000s. You see, 2002, 2003, that people were retrieving their old cocoa farms because of the mass spraying and all that. And then I said, I did some calculations with some people at Achimtafo, the Cocoa Research Institute, and I realized that it's something that if a young man pump some money in there, you are going to get returns on your investment in 2-3 years going. So I went into cocoa farming big time. We enjoyed what you talked about, the free mass spraying and all that, the fertilizers and everything. And cocoa from about 350,000 metric tons in 2001, thereabout, jumped to 740,000 metric tons, and incrementally they are targeted 1 million metric tons the following year, which was 2009. So when our brothers under Professor Mills came to power, they sustained it, and then up to 2010 we hit the 1 million metric ton mark. So we were to continue on that tangent. Unfortunately, we began dipping. Why? Because the incentives, those incentives that we spoke about,
the fertilizers
were no longer
the
going.
commitment to the mass cocoa spray.
Because
usually, I've been told by the cocoa farmers, it was undertaken twice in the season.
At times 3 times.
Okay, 3 times.
3 times.
2 to 3 times.
That's right.
Then it got reduced to 2. Then sometimes even 1.
To 1, and
in
even
some
the
areas,
1. Yes, even the 1. It came at the tail end of the year.
I'm telling you, you haven't interacted with politicians, so I'm talking about
with the farmers. That's right. And I'm talking to you as a cocoa farmer. And I gather a lot of information.
You're a politician, so I won't take your word for it.
Don't worry. This one, it will tell you with whatever information. That's okay. People have lost trust and confidence in politicians.
No, I've not lost trust. When I take your word, they'll say I'm doing
politics.
How do you call it? Propaganda.
Bipartisan propaganda. That's what they will say. But that's okay. But you see, all these incentives that motivated me to go into cocoa farming, are they there right now to motivate a young man who is working in Accra but has advantage over land somewhere to go back to the land?
What makes you think so? Why?
I would say no, because look, now, even with the recent increase, for the past 2 or 3 years, they are not increased.
You mean the producer price?
The producer price of cocoa, and every aspect of cocoa, the cocoa industry had gone up. So much that for me, for example, I left my farm for about 2 seasons. I was not taking care of, because every money that I pumped in, I did not get any a peso in return of my investment. And if you ask me today, any young man who wants to go into cocoa farming, I will tell the young man he should be prepared to do everything all by himself. If he thinks that he's going to rely on these spraying gangs, they are no longer there. We used to have spraying gangs, you see, and these spraying gangs, when those incentives came, the insecticides and all those things came, they just went and collected these ones, and then you just show them where your farm is located. They will go and do the spraying for you. Ask any cocoa farmer right now if those machines are still there. When governments changed in 2009, they auctioned all the spraying machines there. Now, as I speak, at least I can talk about my district.
Your experience.
Yeah, that's right. You don't get it. So when this thing came, they would just come and say, okay, you have 1 bottle of, let's say, Confidor. You have 1 bottle. So go and look for your spraying machine, and then buy your petrol for us to go and spray your cocoa.
And you're saying the ordinary farmer can't afford?
They cannot. They cannot. I tell you, go there right now. They cannot. And the one most serious thing that is taking place in the cocoa growing areas is the over partisan aspect of
the partisan nature of giving the assistance.
Exactly. When it comes,
that's an allegation.
It's not. This is, I have an empirical proof in my constituency.
In which
these farmers came and said that when
because they were perceived to be NPP, or they were perceived to belong to another party.
You know,
they were not getting the incentive.
Over there, most of the farmers, I mean, 90%, I should say,
supported the opposition.
That's right. So when the tide changed in 2009, these guys, those gangs were mostly party guys. So they were pushed aside, and new guys came in. They formed new gangs. It is something that you don't want to mention it, but that is the truth on the ground. So when the first consignment came, and they were distributing, serious discrimination, and that thing has continued to date. So if you go to an area where predominantly is the opposition, and you don't give them these incentives, the insects that use the cocoa knows no political coloration. So if you
once you don't prevent,
you not get the quantum of cocoa that you are supposed to get. And two, there are about 4 regions in this country where cocoa is done seriously. There are 6, but 4 are done so seriously. And in these regions, we have the menace of galamsey. You see, the menace of galamsey in these regions. And you see, the galamsey is done in the river bodies. And because the land in most part of the country has lost its fertility, it is those lands close to river bodies that cocoa does well so much. Unfortunately, these are the lands the Chinese prefer to do their galamsey. So there are a lot of cocoa farms that have been pulled down for galamsey. And I will one day take you to my constituency to show you vast lands.
As a committee, has this come to your attention?
It has. Okay. It has. But it's a multi-sectorial
So you're saying these have resulted in the
reduction of
the yields?
The yields that we should be getting as a country.
The last year, what was the current rate for cocoa production?
The last cropping season, we were close to 900,000.
So it's still around the 800,000.
Yeah, around that side. We should be doing 1.5 million metric tons from 2010.
I know, based on the interaction I've had with the farmers, that the assistance they've gotten by way of the spraying has improved the current year than it was the last year and 3 years ago. That's one I can confidently say. But the point is, if the commitment to the farmers to some of these incentives is low, how then do you expect yields?
Yes, you see, let me just say that, you see, it's on records that if you look at the yield level of any tree crop, it is just an up and down. Tree crops, if it produce heavily this particular year, the following year, you see that the yield level will reduce. That's it. Is it just like, yes?
It's a fallacy.
No, you see, you can watch the growth rate of unless I'm talking about if you have 1 acre of cocoa farm. I'm talking about agronomy here, and you produce very high in this particular season. You don't expect the same growth in the next season. This one is an agronomy.
But when you consistently see poor growth
you can cross-check.
Then that's not agronomy. That's not going by your...
You can cross-check from any scientist, but not... you give me the time, yes. Okay. You see, all I'm trying to say is that if you watch the production trend of cocoa, it goes up and come down, goes up and come down. The graph has not been like this.
Has not been consistent.
Consistent. That's one.
And this is one of the reasons.
But yes, and I also want to say that, you see, as my colleague is saying, just this year, the growth that we are expecting in terms of cocoa production has gone up. The target was around 850. We're almost around 900,000. So there's some level of growth. And you ask me, what are the activities that is taking place in the cocoa growing season that is causing the growth in the cocoa production in this country? Clearly, this year, as we speak right now, if you go to cocoa producing areas, the first time that the cocoa farmer can just walk in and get fertilizer free of charge. You not pay a cedi. It's free. The high-tech program is going on for free. They used to pay about 50% of the cost of fertilizers. But this year, if you move in now, you get your fertilizers, and it is well coordinated and organized.
And all intended to make sure there's improved yield.
Yes, yield. And the Kodapek program, as he's talking about, well coordinated and managed, because the program is left to the cocoa board and the community members. They form community associations in conjunction with the cocoa board staffs, and they are doing this mass spraying very effectively. That's how come the yield level or the projections by cocoa board itself was even more than what they are expecting. And that's going to transcend to the next year cropping season. What I'm trying to say is that tremendous effort, and ever since we've been talking about the bonuses and the bonus. This time now, even the trend has changed. That the very day you bring your bags of cocoa, 64 kilos, you take your bonus.
And even it has increased.
Yes, from 2 cedi to 5 cedis. Is
it the same thing as the producer price?
No, okay. The bonus is different. I'm not talking about the producer price.
You haven't even gone there?
No, I don't want to go there.
Because that's even more significant.
No, that's a Bugruja. I don't want to talk about that one. You see, so
cocoa farmer. That's what
so
you're talking
yes,
about.
but I've worked closely with cocoa farmers.
So.
No. But I'm feeling that the pinch.
Because I know you're a practical person.
Yes,
I've worked closely with cocoa farmers.
He's talking theory.
It can never be theory.
It can never be theory.
It can never be theory. It can never be theory.
Practicalize it.
It can never be theory. You understand me? There's no cocoa growing area in this country that I've not been to.
So do you think that we can sustain this? And talking about all the things that you've done, can we sustain this for the next year or two?
Very, very, in the sense that
because since now the agronomist, you are saying that for a tree
every year
crop season, you can not significantly get consistent growth. Let's say 2-3 years. You see something.
That's how come the expansion of farm, not only intensification. You need to expand the size of your farm. You need to bring in more practical agronomic practices in terms of farm management. It's also key. So all that I'm trying to say is that.
So do we have the extension services and all that going on?
Yes.
Helping the farmers.
Now.
Look.
Now let me tell you. Cocoa board Cocoa board used not to have extension services. Now they have now employed extension officers at the various cocoa growing
That's
areas.
significant. I know you wanted to add something to
all that I'm trying to say is that clearly in the area of cocoa production, tremendous improvement in the high-tech program. I'm talking about the free fertilizer concept. The Kodapek concept is moving on. The concept has changed. You used to be politicians who used to distribute the
equipment. That's a recap.
Yes.
You said that already.
So
just to emphasize.
Just to emphasize the point that there's tremendous improvement in the management of the high-tech programs, and that is giving result to the yield level that we are getting.
Right, that's true communication. I love this one. Now, I know you want to make, as you make your contribution to it, how do we make sure, as you make your contribution to what he's saying, to make sure we're food sufficient? We're talking about high dependency on import, rice. Yeah. Now we even import tomatoes.
Everything.
And for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been importing onions from Burkina Faso and Niger, etc. Even when we're talking about meat, cow feet. You go to Techima market. I've been there severally, and we even import from Holland. Apart from Holland, even from Burkina Faso, we import from Senegal, from Mali. We import cow feet, nane, and all that. Yes.
Before I get to that point, you see, if my brother is talking about agronomic. Is it agronomy?
Agronomic practices.
Yeah, we are looking at practicality.
And you're a practical.
Yeah, because the thing from 250.
I don't have farm. I don't have cocoa farm, but I have farm.
You don't have
I have a mango farm.
From 250 in 202, significantly, every year, we were adding onto the load until we got to 740,000 metric tons in 208. So he cannot say that it was as a result of the expansion of farms. Significantly, my farm, I started with two bags. I went to 8 bags. I went to 15 bags, and I was growing. So that theory that he just spoke about, and it's the same acreage. I do my matured cocoa is 15 acres. You understand? And it has been growing.
And that's huge.
I can explain to him the reasons.
You see, so he should talk about the continuation of that system.
That would
ensure. That's right. But not that theory. That
now, talking about food sufficiency, I'm talking about imports and our dependency on tomatoes from outside, rice. Currently we're
Ghana,
helping reduce.
Yeah, Ghana. We don't have the large, so let's say the medium and large scale farmers. We don't have them too much.
So we still have small.
The smallholder, 1 acre, half acre, 1 pole, 2 pole kind of.
And what does it mean?
Yeah, what it means is it is our land tenure system. See, there's a whole lot of...
Nobody wants to give a large acreage of land to
exactly,
a company.
Because they belong to different families. You see...
Plantation cultivation, for example.
we don't have it here. There are a few. Dr. Akoto Afriye, he has large... Afriye Akoto, if he was here, he will correct me. He has large plantations, coffee, cocoa plantations around the country. There's one of a few who have that large tract of plantations like that. We don't have it here. It's the smallholder farmers. So any policy that has the smallholder farmers will invariably affect our production levels everywhere in terms of food crop production. You see, our policies are targeted at the as you said, the nucleus farmer, and then the outgrowers. But how significant is the nuclear farmer to the development of outgrowers in this country? For me, it is not something that will grow our industry. You see, we should be looking at how we can provide these incentives, whether we like it or not. Even in advanced countries, agriculture is heavily subsidized. But there's this policy of trying to run away from subsidies. You see, this fertilizer thing, it was a knee-jerk reaction, the cocoa butter fertilizer thing, and I'm happy that...
You're back to cocoa. Well,
yeah, I'm just linking it. No, I'm just linking it. I'm happy about the new Director General of the Cocoa Board, because he realized that...
The Chief Executive.
Yeah, the Chief Executive.
Dr. Opuni.
Okay, if he didn't go back to the old system, we were going down like that. That's how come this year, he said... Because
he's good, he knows the system.
Yeah, but it has not been like that for the past few years until he realized, because we kept talking about it, that look, do it. So going back to the smallholder, yes, how we can sustain them, we have no choice than to go to that smallholder farmer and look at the inputs that he requires to look. We should give them those free fertilizers or heavily subsidized fertilizers, heavily subsidized inputs. And then, significantly, let me bring this one. Irrigation. He talked about irrigation. That figure he was mentioning is so insignificant. Look, we did some study on the Accra Plains alone. 300,000 hectares of land. We pumped so much money in the study. So I was part of the study. We pumped so much money in it. The president mentioned it in the first State of the Nation address. The budget captured it. Look, from last year's budget and this year's budget, Accra Plains, the name of Accra Plains has gone off completely from our scheme of things.
It was in the NDC's manifesto. I remember.
They can't write it again. If they review it, it will not appear. Which budget, which money are they going to use to turn that
Chinese loan? It was supposed to have been used.
Master, it is nothing to
so
talk
you are
about
saying that
now.
We should take advantage of some of these.
We should do all year-round agriculture if you want to talk about sustainability. If you go to the north, the three northern regions.
Can we do all year-round?
Yes, but
agriculture in the three northern regions.
Yes,
through irrigation.
Yeah, that's right. There are real bodies all over in the area. Let's dam them. Let's irrigate the lands. They do only 3 months of agriculture in the northern regions. If we are able to do the Golinga Dam, the Botanga Dam, the Nasia area, and all those dams there, if you're able to expand them, there's an irrigation project on the Pond left bank. I was part of it by Millennium Development Authority. Just 2,000 hectares. When the project ended, to date, I always ask Honorable Okudzeto Blakwa, have you pumped money to complete the project? It has not been completed. I wanted to go and do some farming.
So we still have unfinished projects around that we can take advantage of.
For sustainability and for food sufficiency, we need to do serious irrigation projects in this country.
How do we pick up from where we are currently? We know that a lot of incentives have been put in the last couple of, I think, a year or two. And so we've seen some significant growth. But if we want to be self-sufficient, how do we make sure we reduce the importation from Burkina Faso, even Niger, Mali, tomatoes, and all the things? We know that
we have better climatic conditions here.
He said there's 2 ways to solve this problem, and I think that
there's a commitment.
I think that we are on course. We are on course in the sense that there are 2 major programs which are supposed to resolve those problems, and one is the Northern Rural Program, which he knows that are developing small irrigation dams to ensure that they produce across. And
well, he says it's slow.
No, yeah, recently he knows that we are capturing some level of
it's insignificant.
No, it's not insignificant. He knows the amount of money that's been pumped into the Northern Rural Program.
How much?
And he knows that
it is not much.
My brother, just Ghana Commercial Agriculture Program alone, $5 million US. No, listen. That is to ensure that we have irrigation infrastructures in a small. Listen, let me finish. Then we are talking about.
Let's be serious.
Let me finish. No, let me finish.
Yeah, let me talk. You're
hacking him. The point I'm trying to make is that
my brother.
It is the same people that when you want to develop Accra Plains right now, you need a loan to develop Accra Plains. Is that not it?
What's the estimate? How much do we need to develop Accra Plains?
The point
because
is that
I remember it's been identified. It's been identified since it's
in the budget.
Oh no!
It's in. What's the last component? What's the last component?
Sir, continue, sir.
Yes.
Right, you were saying something.
So all I'm trying to say is that irrigation infrastructure development is the way to go, and I've seen a lot of commitment on the part of government to develop irrigation infrastructure. That's how come a lot of emphasis is being placed on irrigation infrastructure. You see, apart from irrigation infrastructure, let me tell you one. So if you move from just developing the infrastructure, you need to move a step ahead. That's modernization. In terms of scientific improvement of getting up crops that can resist certain weather. It's research. That's how come sometimes when people talk about the plant breeders bill and people are arguing about it, I have some level of difficulty because you need to encourage.
You mean those are the things that would ensure that we expand agriculture?
Because let me tell you, even in my area, we produce tomatoes.
Where's your area?
I'm talking about Weja irrigation project, which is in my constituency. You see, when we produce the tomatoes, it's just for a season. Whether there's water or there's no water, you cannot produce the tomatoes again. It means that you need a new variety that can resist. Whether you can produce 2 or 3 or 4 times.
So you know that after the bumper period, then thereafter you take another variety to plant.
Yes.
Okay.
But because we don't have that variety, if you crop, you cannot survive.
The two of you, the countries like Zimbabwe, etc.
Yes.
What are they doing differently that we're not doing?
Yeah. Honestly, when I went to Ethiopia, what I saw is the same thing that we are doing. That you develop one commercial farmer, and the nucleus farmers develop around them. And that's the concept that Ghana Agriculture Commercial Project is implementing. That yes, in every area, you take one serious farmer, give him all the equipment and the input and the machinery, then he develop, then he brings along all other farmers along the line.
We have to end the discussions, and you are having the last word. I'm sorry, it's a holiday, so we have a lot of things packed on our program. But how do we make sure countries like Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and Zambia, and all that, Malawi, who tend to have very fertile agricultural lands and taking advantage of them, we tend to replicate that in our country?
Yeah, you see, we are having these serious challenges here because of our land tenure system. Over there, the state owns the lands, and he can.
All the lands are vested in the state.
Yeah, they can do whatever they like with it. But here, it will be so difficult for any commercial agriculture farmer to have that large tract of land without going through 5 years of litigation. You see, that alone, you see, it is something that I don't know why people don't talk about it, but it is very, very significant. So you see, agriculture has a connection, serious connection with socio-cultural backgrounds of the people. So we need to take care of what we have here. The smallholder farmers. Let's improve what they do. Let's improve what the smallholder farmer does in this country. And I'm sure that if you're able to do that, we will improve our farming. This is a smallholder farmer. We should not forget the smallholder farmer, because the aggregation of all those smallholder farms, their produce, that gives us that big tonnage that we have.
We're not talking politics. We're talking something serious.
So
we're ending the program quickly.
No, but just 1 minute. You see, what is important is our nutritional requirement, which is poultry. And I just want to say that and encourage the youth that government have a very significant program running across the length and breadth of this country, which the youth must take advantage of. The 20 million broiler project. If you are in every district or any region, you have this program. please go for it. It's a very wonderful program.
Is it enough?
To ensure that
20 million.
It's a step to ensure that we increase our production.
All right. Thank you very much.
Of poultry
Thank you
by 40%.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I've had in the studio Member of Parliament for Mansour Dubia in the Western region and in Ashanti region. Yes. I nearly got into trouble now. And Yao Frimpong Ado, thanks for joining me, sir. Yes. And Bright Demoji is a Member of Parliament for English, Botiano English Manfro. And thanks for joining me. Today I didn't introduce them as MPP and DC because